Hello, everyone. I'm Violet Lee, your Tai Chi examiner. Today, I am very happy and honored to have Dr. Christine CJ Rhoads join us. Dr. CJ Rhoads has been studying Tai Chi and Qigong for more than 30 years, yes. And she is currently the CEO and Managing Director of Health, Prosperity, and Leadership Institute, which is an umbrella organization with over 30 health and leadership programs devoted to helping people everywhere and everyone. And she is an avid and research scientist and on the integrative health practice such as Tai Chi and Qigong. She has received the World Congress of Qigong, Tai Chi, and TCM and Natural Healing Leadership Award, the Top Faculty Research of the Year Award, and the Tai Chi Chuan Promoter of the Year Award, and many others. And before she joined the Kunsthal University as a professor, she had a leadership role with Bank of America, Chase, and many other institute and fine companies. And she has authored 10 books, yes, 10 books, and over 250 articles, many of which have been translated in numerous languages. And you know what, without further ado, let me welcome Dr. CJ Rhoads into our studio. Hello, Dr. Rhoads. And actually, Dr. Rhoads, please unmute yourself and say hi to everyone.
Hi, hello, everyone. Glad to see you all.
And actually, we were going to do the interview last week. However, I had some technical issue with my computer systems. And Dr. Rhoads was so kind. She spent the entire hour helping me to troubleshoot. So finally, we did not have time to do the interview, and we do it today. And I just mentioned about your accomplishment in so many different areas. And but I still remember you as the Tai Chi enthusiast. I remember them probably more than 10 years ago, and then I found your information, and then you were the organizer, and you were managing the Tai Chi enthusiast. And what strikes me is that you also have that abundance of enthusiasm in helping people. Doesn't matter, it's in the research and learning Tai Chi and Qigong, or helping me to solve my technical issues. So that's great. And you know what, can you speak a little bit more, because I was having a little bit an issue to hear you.
Okay, I said I do appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Fantastic about technology. I teach technology at Kutztown, I'm sure you mentioned, and I am enthusiastic about Tai Chi. I'm enthusiastic about many other things too, but those two are at the near the top of my list. So I just enjoy it.
Great. And the reason, I know you are very, very busy, because not only you do teaching, you do writing, and then you how should I say, volunteer in so many different organizations. And the reason you know, I invite you today, and I want to talk about a research, a study, and by you, and from a long time ago. And it's because recently I interviewed Sifu Hutchison, and she mentioned about your study. I said, oh my God, that sounds so interesting, so fascinating. So here we are today, and then to talk about your research. And I believe the research is how meditation or Qigong help college students to improve their grades, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so would you mind and take us back and to talk a little bit about the history, and you know, why did you decided to do a research like that. And then how about that? You take over.
Okay, well, I guess I'll give you the why first, and then I'll explain the actual research that we did. The why was I at Kutztown teaching technology at all? It's because I was in a very, very bad car accident in 2002, on November 5th, 2002. I was struck from behind by a car. I was in a lineup of 4 cars that were struck. I was the last one, so I got hit the hardest. And I had some major pain, back pain, neck pain. I had also major brain injury, mild traumatic brain injury, which caused several issues. Prosopagnosia, which is face blindness, date aphasia, which is I can't tell dates and times, a whole bunch of different things that places just couldn't do project management. Many, many terrible things happened to me at that point because of that car accident. And one of the things that happened was I almost lost my business. Until then, I had been a consultant, consulting with large companies all over the world doing project management. And I not only lost my ability to project manage, but I lost my ability to market my services, because the way I used to market my services was to find out who the CEOs of these companies were. And then I would see them at conferences, and then I would talk to them and convince them to hire me. And since I couldn't recognize their faces, I couldn't figure out who they were.
My God.
So I couldn't do my normal job. And for several years, I couldn't do anything. I was pretty much in bed. And the only thing I got out of bed to do was Tai Chi, which is why Tai Chi was my savior. If it hadn't been for Tai Chi, after that car accident, I may very well still be in bed, disabled.
Oh, wow.
Taking disability, collecting disability from the government and doing nothing. That's where I would have been without Tai Chi getting me out of bed in the morning. Now,
Wow.
I had been doing Tai Chi for 10 years, so I didn't start doing Tai Chi from the accident. I've been doing Tai Chi for 12 years at the time of the accident. And it was something I enjoyed doing. I just enjoyed doing it. I thought it was fun. I wasn't doing it for health purposes, but certainly because I enjoyed it, I would force myself to get out of bed to do it. And even though it hurt and I had to change teachers, because the teacher I had been studying with in Philadelphia, that was a 2-hour drive. I couldn't drive for 2 hours, so I had to find another teacher. And luckily, the universe is very kind to me. The universe found me Betsy Chapman. So I went from Maggie Newman, who's fabulous and wonderful, and I still go to her classes now that I'm recovered. But at the time, I couldn't go to her classes anymore. So I went to Betsy Chapman's classes, and she taught the Sun form, which is a lot easier on the back. And so I was able to do the Sun form. I learned a whole bunch. Anyway, so there I was 2 years after my accident, and I couldn't do my normal job, which was my own business. So I found a job teaching. And it was wonderful because I had found a job as a chief information officer chief technology officer at a veterinarian company, but they fired me after 8 days because I couldn't stay awake more than 2 or 3 hours at a time because I was so fatigued from the pain. So the wonderful thing about teaching was at a university is you can teach for an hour and a half, and then you can sleep for an hour and a half. Then you can teach for an hour and a half. You can sleep for an hour and a half. So I was able to get and keep the job at Kutztown University. So I started to get better. I was able to get to they have wonderful healthcare plan there. I was able to see the good pain management specialists, and I was able to start recovering. And so I recovered over the course of the next 8 or 9 years. And I knew that my recovery was caused by my ability to do Tai Chi, Qigong, other things like massage therapy, Pilates, and other not the medical community, the modern Western medicine. They didn't help me a whole lot. It was the integrative health community that helped me. And so I knew that it was wonderful, and I knew that it helped me. And I also knew that it helped me not just with my pain and my other issues, but it also helped me calm down and be able
So
to.
you're saying is the pain management, treatment, or you went to whatever the Western type of medicine, it did not really help you as much as the doing Tai Chi and Qigong. Am I
Correct.
hearing you correct?
Yeah, they gave me painkillers. I was on on OxyContin for
Oh my God.
and of course, getting off OxyContin after a year was horrible. And I believe that the OxyContin caused something called hyperaphasia. Hyperaphasia is the side effect of all opiates, where the pain levels rise after the medicine wears off. So if your pain level is here and you take medicine and it goes down to there, and it takes away the pain, you're not in pain anymore. But then when it wears off, your pain levels go up to here. And then you do it the next time. And then you do it the next time, and you do it the next time. And I did research. I started doing research because why does Tai Chi work? I mean, that I would have never guessed that you could that you could do this very simple meditative movements and have it get rid of your pain. That was a complete new concept to me. I would never in a million years have believed it if I hadn't actually done it. And so I started doing research into how it works and why it works. And I did write an article on the mechanisms, the physical biological mechanisms of Tai Chi and Qigong and why it works for pain. So, again, that was another research article that I wrote and got published. It's actually one of my top references. A lot of people reference that article, but it's very old. But nonetheless, let's get back to the other one, which is the students. So here's my thing. I knew it helped me for pain. But that was just me. What if the rest of the world, what if it doesn't help other people? Maybe it just helped me. Maybe there's something about me that makes it work, that, that is unique to me or something. So I wanted to see one of the other impacts of Tai Chi to me was my ability to calm down, think clearly, because I'm a very I've ADD, attention deficit disorder, and so I'm all over the place. So Tai Chi has enabled me to calm down. I used to have what's called test anxiety. So I am a lot smarter than my tests show, because I would always get anxious and not do well on tests. I knew that this was happening to me, but I didn't know how to deal with it. So I hypothesized that, well, if I can get other people and test whether or not this impact lowers their anxiety and lets them do better on tests, that's like one step in the research toward proving that, yeah, Tai Chi and Qigong really work for this kind of stuff. So I devised an experiment. And I teach a lot of students. And so over the course of like 2 years, what I did was I took all my students and I split them randomly into groups. So this is if you do know anything about research, the gold standard is randomization. You got to be able to randomize groups so that there's nothing that there's no bias that says, oh, you're going to put all the good students in one group and the bad students in another, which might happen to a researcher if they're choosing which students go in groups. So, and I also had a co-author and someone else who taught the same course I did. So she did the same thing. And so it was not just me, it was other people. So we gathered, over the course of a couple of years, every time we taught this course, we would randomize the students into groups. One group would do exercises, jumping jacks and running up and down the stairs for 5 minutes before the test. Another group would study. So they'd be sitting in the room. That was the control group, the study group. So they would be sitting in the room studying with each other. And then the third group would be doing Qigong meditation. So we had benches out in the hallway, and they'd all be sitting out in the hallway, and we would do simple Qigong movements and then breathing deeply. And we told them to focus on getting an A. So that's what they were going to do. That was their focused intention, was to get an A on the test. So we did this before every test.
So for how many minutes? 5 minutes?
5 minutes. 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Okay. So all three groups they do for 5 minutes.
Right.
Right.
We
and
started.
How many students in total involved?
I really should have pulled up the article so I could find. I'll pull up the article and I'll answer that question after in a few moments. So let me find the article first and then answer that question, because I don't remember offhand how many students there were.
Yes, okay, that's very, very interesting. So one group doing jumping jacks, and one group just continue to study. And that's what I did most. And while I was in school, and probably I should not be doing that. And then instead, probably I should. I mean, not because now I know the results. So I can say that. And then so the other group just doing qigong and meditation and for 5 minutes and wow, that's so neat. And the student have no objection of say, you have me jumping up and down. Should be reading my cheat sheet or my how should I say, those I used to write the key points on the index cards, and I would look at it right before the text, and then I try to memorize as little, I mean, as much as those details as I could. And so that's good. The students, they have no objection, and to follow you guys' instruction, that's good. And so anyway, and if you cannot find the number, that's okay. We can.
I found the article, but it's it's a long article, and I don't know. Oh, and there it is, 295 students.
That's a very good sample size.
No, I'm reading somebody else's. Nope, that wasn't mine. Hold on, that was somebody else's. I was in someone else. It was in independent variable. The N was 171 students. Sorry, 171 students. It was still pretty much, it was obviously.
Yeah, that's still very good from the scientific study viewpoints. And yeah, I have read some of the studies. They have less than 100 and sample size. So this is very good. Yeah.
Well, and now that I teach advanced statistics at Kutztown University, last year they asked me to teach the advanced statistics courses. Of course, I've been using different statistics for years in my own research, but now I actually really got into this, how to figure out what your sample size needs to be. So, and how much power the number of sample, but that gets into details we don't need to get into. Anyway, so to clarify the results, what we got. So there was 171 original students that did the test. And what our results showed, and this was the surprising result. I expected that the exercise group might do maybe not as well as the Qigong group, but I certainly expected them to do better than the control group, because I thought exercise would be good for the brain. You wake it up, you get it working and allow it to think. But apparently that didn't happen. It was the exact opposite. The exercise group did the worst. And so I have to, hypothesize that, well, overstimulating, when you do rigorous exercise like jumping jacks and running up and down the stairs, you overstimulate the brain. And as a result, that test anxiety impact or effect is even worse. So you forget what you learned because your brain is full of cortisol and adrenaline rather than the neurotransmitters that you need, which is serotonin, dopamine, GABA, the GABA, these are all the endorphins. These are the neurotransmitters that enable the brain to think clearly, remain calm, and do your best. So those are the neurotransmitters that are enhanced and enabled by Tai Chi and Qigong, which again, that comes from my research on the mechanisms of Tai Chi and Qigong. How do they work? They work by changing your brain chemistry. Anyway, so the group that did the exercising did the worst. And then that did the Qigong and the activity and the meditation did the best. Strangely enough, though, they didn't do as well equally on all the tests. It was actually one of the two tests that they did better on. The other test they didn't do as better on. So the IT concepts class, the IT concepts test, they didn't do any better on that test. So it was.
Did they do worse?
They didn't do worse. They just didn't do statistically better. So they did about the same as the control group on that particular test. The test that they did really much better on was the hands-on test, the kinesthetic test, the test where they had to actually use the computer, not just remember the words about the computer, which was the IT concepts part of the test. That's just like, multiple choice. The one where they had to actually do stuff, that's the one that they did better on. So that was my research. That was one of the first steps that I took in research that enabled me to recognize and understand that this is a real effect, that the Tai Chi and Qigong, it's not just a made up effect. It's not just a placebo effect. It's not just me unique. It is a real effect on real people. And it impacts their lives and what they can do. It also, of course, for me, also impacts pain. Now, there's another, I'm sorry, but I have to interrupt. I just found out about another study. I think you know Dr. Yang.
Yes, sure.
Well, in December, I didn't even know this. See, I've been so busy, I didn't even recognize that this particular study came out. But it came out in December, which is focused on pain management. And again, there's not that many well-constructed studies. There's hundreds of studies that show that Tai Chi and Qigong help with pain management. But they're not all really well constructed. Like you said, they have small sample sizes, less than 100 people, or they weren't randomized, or there were like lots of reasons why there are hundreds of studies, but you can still have doctors say, oh no, that's not good enough because the study wasn't well done. Well, this study, Dr. Yang always does great, very, very well done studies. He did one years ago that proved that Tai Chi and Qigong increases the immune response of the body to the flu or shingles. And they were very well constructed, double randomized studies. So now this one is also a randomized.
Double randomized, wow.
Yeah, that was, well, I don't know if this one was double randomized. The other one was, but this one, I didn't read I haven't fully read the study yet. I just went to a workshop that Dr. Yang did, and he shared the results. So I do have a copy of it. I just haven't had time to sit down and read the whole thing. So I don't know if it was double, but at any rate, it was randomized. They had a large sample size, over 300 people in their sample. And it showed absolutely without a doubt that 12 weeks of Tai Chi did better than the other treatments for pain relief. And so I'm really excited that we're finally getting some really high quality studies that show the pain relief possibilities of Tai Chi and Qigong.
Well, I had a very amazing result with one of my students. And he used to take 14 pain medications simultaneously. Not I say, oh, I tried this medicine, I tried that medicine. No, 14 different kinds every day. And but he was still suffering from pain. And well, he had a lot of surgery, so that caused the results. But then he came to my class, and only two private lessons, each one just an hour. And then, like a couple of weeks later, I received this message and telling me that his pain is gone. I did not even know he was, having such big issue. And then so he thanked me profusely. But at the same time, I told him, say, yes, I taught you how to do it. But it's you work very hard. And every day he will spend 2 hours and doing that. So it's amazing, and what Tai Chi and Qigong can do for us, and especially in the pain management area.
Have you ever attended any of my pain management workshops? I don't know. I know you and I have been at many conferences together where I did the pain management workshop, but I'm not sure the it's pain-freeing Qigong. It's my workshop is called pain-freeing Qigong. And I developed a Qigong that I use myself to stay out of pain. It's pretty complicated, and we don't have time now to go over the whole thing, but
we talk next time. How about that? We have you back and talk about that. So this is wonderful. So you did the research with the college students for 2 years. So at first I thought you were continuous with that. So basically it's for 2 years, and then you had a great results, and that's amazing.
I did. After that, I just had all of my students for 5 minutes before every test. I made them do Qigong.
Oh, okay.
I'd make all of them. All right, everybody. And we'd all stand up and we'd all do deep breathing for at least 3 minutes before every test. I would make them do Qigong. Now, I can't do that anymore because now because since COVID, students are not willing anymore to take tests in the classroom. So they're all online. They take them, when on their own schedule. They get 48 hours to take the test. So I can't make them all do Qigong anymore before the test. But I did that all the way up until COVID. Since I did that study, which I don't know, was 2010 maybe. When did that publish? That published. It doesn't say the date. Yeah, I don't remember what the date is. 2010 probably.
So since it's more than 10 years ago, and I don't know if it is fair for me now ask you to lead us to do a Qigong, and for 5 minutes, and then before we conclude our interview. You want to?
I'd be happy to.
Okay.
It'll have to be even with my students, I couldn't. They were all like next to each other, so we couldn't do anything like really fancy or anything. So it was just a very, very simple Qigong. So we can do a simple Qigong together.
Okay, and I'm following you. Okay.
So that, of course, let me see how wide this is. Yeah, because my screen's not going to wide. I'm going to do this one. It's just like the beginning of any kind of form. So that's the preparation step, they call it. So we raise our hands, breathing in, and then breathe out slowly as we put our hands down. And what I would say to the students is I want you to focus on opening your mind and remembering everything you've done. Now breathing in and breathing out. And each time you do it, you're going to breathe in and out slower than the time before. So that by the time we get to the end, you're going very, very slowly. You're breathing very deeply. So breathe in. Imagine the air going to the bottom of your lungs. Stick your stomach out so it goes down. Now breathe out. Make sure all the air is out of your lungs. Breathing in, raising your arms again. Hold for just a second. Now breathe out slowly. And breathing in again. Opening your lungs, opening your mind. Breathe out slowly. Even more slowly, breathing in. Slowly breathing out. Completely emptying the lungs. Breathing in one last time. We're going to go very slowly. Breathing in, opening your mind, opening your lungs. Now breathing out. And that's it.
Well, that was a very special treat. And I follow you and I feel really, really good. Now I feel the tingling sensations in my fingers and even a little bit on my arms. And that's so nice. Well, Dr. CJ Rhoads, thank you very, very much and for coming to talk about your experiment. So if you're out there, if you're still a student, maybe you should do a little bit of meditation before your test. And then if you're parents, and then you can share this knowledge with your children, right? Or share with everybody. How about that? And so maybe we have you come back if you can find time on your busy schedule. And then we talk about some other of your research and your study. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. One last thing I want to mention is that we are having a wonderful festival where I will be doing my pain-freeing Qigong workshop at the festival in Warwick, New York, called the Tai Chi and Qigong Festival and Symposium on June 26th to June 30th in this year, 2025. So I'm hoping, and I know you're going to be there, and so we'll do a wonderful time, have a wonderful time there too.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and I will put the festival information underneath the video. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Dr. CJ. Okay.
Bye-bye.